Hi all and welcome to episode 8 of Forewarned Forearm. So this episode's going to be hot on the trail of NATO release prior to coming out. So don't know if you've seen it yet, but Harry over at Fog of War has just released the new stats for a couple of really interesting new things coming out for NATO that gives a few armies a bit of a buff, which is what I'm going to talk about. And I'm really excited about these because it brings back some really good formations that really needed a bit of love. And you're probably wondering what I'm talking about. And that would be, well, prepare for it, boys and girls, because it's bringing back the Milan spam. So, the good old V1 days, you used to have a lot of Milan spam, especially with Brits, especially with West Germans and any other nation that could pretty much pack them for cheap points. And they were the bane of most lists in the day because they were just so cheap and you could put a lot of them on the table, especially with the FV4-3-2 formation, the same with the Marder M113 formation as well. These guys could pack a lot of punch. Now they're just getting more punch. So let's cover a few things. First of all, the missile systems themselves. You've got the Milan, which is being upgraded to the Milan 2, and the Dragon, which is being upgraded to the Dragon 2. Now, out of these, I think that they're going to be quite meta-changing, and I think that they're going to give a lot more punch to a certain few units, and especially the Brits, I think, at the moment, who desperately needed a bit more heavy-hitting firepower. Just for the pure fact that they were missing out on a few things. I think a lot of people are having a bit of gripes about the Brits not having enough punch to go through things like T80s, T72 BVs, T64 BV as well. And now they've got that punch to get through that frontal arm again with Milan 2. So first up is the FV432 formation. Brilliant little formation. I think it's just going to get a bigger boost. As you can see, the formation itself has quite a bit of punch in there. So you've got the 3 platoons that you can choose from, but you've also got the mobile missile systems as well as the Milan section as well. Now, Brit infantry is already good as it is, as you can see by the stats here. The fact that they now get to have their improved Milan 2 missiles on top of that just makes them even better. Now, remember, you can take the min section, which is what I generally do, just for the pure fact that you do get a lot of units for it, and it's like 7 points with the old Milan 1s to get a nice decent unit with plenty of hitting power in there. Now with the Milan 2s, as you can see, they're a point extra, so that makes them now 9 points, which is pretty much the same cost as what you would pay for the old Milan system with the full strength squad size, for the platoon size for them, sorry. So you're still looking at about 27 points for the 3 platoons, plus the HQ, so it's putting them just under 28 points, which is still great for 30 points, leaving you 70 points if you're playing 100-point games, and 85 if you're playing like 115. And I think this is really good for tournament play, especially if you're looking at it, because it's like, now you can really build some really scary lists out there that are capable of putting a lot of hurt on things. And because the Milan systems also get an upgrade, their Milan sections also get the upgrade. Now, the good thing about these Milan sections, I don't know if you've seen the Australian Milan section, they don't have any counter assault or counter attack ability, so this makes the British Milans a little bit more scarier, just for the pure fact that they can actually counter attack if need be. If they are being counter attacked, it's going pretty badly as it is, but the fact is you do have it there with them, so they'll go up to 8 points. So you're looking at 36 points for 12 Milans, or 10 Milans, thereabouts, 10 Milans, and if you upgrade them, that's with Milan 2, I think that's going to be quite a bit of punch for them, especially if they're hitting out at about AT24 is what they have from the stats there. So that's my take on the mechanised infantry platoon. I think they're going to be great, but I think the one that's going to do a little bit better is this one, which is the Lynx Air Mobile. So these guys are going to pack more punch, just with the pure fact that you're going to be paying 19 points, but you're going to get 8 of these little guys with Milan 2s. And I think that's going to be quite scary when faced with a few people. And the fact that you can get up to close to, what is it? So 14 Milan 2s with these guys for quite cheap. You're paying about 10 points, so you'll be looking at about just under 40 points, or 40 points for this whole formation. I think that's quite scary for 40 points. You throw in all the other extras that you want. Like, if you were really scary, you could probably add the Air Mobile in with the 4-3-2 formation for the Brits, and that brings a lot of Milans to the table. You're looking at quite a bit there, and I think that's a scary thing to go back to. So Milan spam's definitely back. Another one I want to talk about is the old West German one as well. So the M113 Panzer Grenadier Zugs, or the mech infantry for them, they're again going to come out at around about 31 points for a full 3 units plus headquarters to take that formation. So that's 31 points in total. Then if you add in the rest of it, you know, that's a cheap 50-point formation that can really hurt those Tier 1 MBTs such as the T80, Challenger, M1A1, HC even, and you know, that's going to be really scary. So it makes me wonder if people are going to start going back to like T55s and T62s just to not worry about them. But then when you look at things like the Brits again, and especially with the West Germans, they've got those lovely other units as well integrated with them, with the Kalkostoffs and the Panzerfaust 44s with the West Germans. So I think this is really great. I'm really excited about this, especially the fact that the Mitre 2 really giving these units a boost. On to the Americans with the Dragon 2. So the Americans get the Dragon 2, so it bumps them up to Milan, but Americans also get TOW 2 as well, so that kind of counteracts a little bit of things. It's not the best, but it's still a bit of a buff for them, and I'm really happy about it, especially giving it to a lot of their infantry formations. Now, one of the formations that I'm really happy it's going to get this is the Light Motor Infantry Platoon. These guys are great for US. They are skill 3+. They're probably the best infantry unit you can get for Americans straight off the bat. Large unit, full of plenty of ducker, especially when it comes to those Humvees in there as well. So those Hummers are really going to lay down the hurt, especially with 8 of them, or with the M60s. That's a lot of rate of 5 for those as well. So you got quite a bit in there as well. And I think the Dragon being like 1 point for 2, it's quite good. So you're only really paying a point for 2 Dragon missile systems. So this light motor infantry is only going to be 9 points. So it's 27 points if you're going to get 3 units, but you can only have the 2. But when you look at it, you're paying 18 points, another 10 points for the 2 TOW 2 Humvees as well. And yeah, it's quite a good set of formation. Then you equip with some RDFs and then another couple of units in there as well, and it makes for a really small formation that can be backed up by things like M1A1s if you want to boost your force, especially for 100 points, just to make that 1 unit for reserves, and you get a lot of infantry to hold objectives. So I'm really happy about that. And the other one I'm actually really happy about is the Mechanized Infantry 113 formation as well. So these guys also get it, and same thing again, but the difference is you get to add that extra Dragon team for a point, and then you add in the 2 Dragon 2 teams for another 2 points. That makes them 8 points, and you can take 3 of them, so that's 24 points for the 3. So, and then 25 with the headquarters. Add in a couple of Abrams tanks, some scouts, whole bunch of ATs plus mortars. Rounds out the formation quite well, and I think it gives the US that much needed punch, you know, as well. And I think they're really well with that, which is great. So yeah, I think this is going to be a real good game changer. It'll bring back a lot of things. So do I think it's going to be a meta shift? Yes, I do. So that's my quick take on the new systems coming out. And you do get Hot 2 as well for the West Germans, so you do get some extras. So those PAR helicopters are going to go up to again, but I don't see them really changing much. And I think with 23 on most of those, probably won't worry about it. But for the infantry, definitely a good boost for infantry for NATO. So thanks once again for joining me. I'm really excited about this, and I hope to see what else comes out for NATO. So good hunting out there.